Starry-eyed rumblings.
As it turns out, not so classic of a clunk as I had anticipated, because Swordfish hadn't anticipated a military-grade helmet, which has encapsulated my head in a protective layer that... She tried to clunk me again. Okay, the second one did make my head rattle a little bit, but I'm still conscious. Swordfish eyes me for a moment, and then tells the two unknown assailants to put a bag over my head. And now I'm being dragged across Yuma's estate. Still, I think, in the engineering department, but the dragging continues for a good 15 to 20 minutes, in which there are many turns, and many times they jostle me about, and I can't really say where we are now. There is one point during this unceremonial dragging of me across Yuma's estate's floor where I believe they have paused to let someone go by. Now, Yuma's estate is pretty empty and devoid of people, but there are some people still left on Yuma's estate, that I'm sure of. However, I don't risk trying to scream more and get their attention because, one, I don't really want to get them entangled in this murder investigation. Also, I wasn't entirely sure it was another person that I could call out to for aid. So I remain silent as I'm dragged across the floor. You know, it's actually quite relaxing, not having to put any effort whatsoever into moving my body, just having two people do it for me. Anyway, by the time I'm starting to feel a little bit like an invalid, they deposit me, presumably in a room. They remove the bag over my head, and yes, indeed, it is a room, as I look about quickly and close the door behind them as they leave. Looking about the room, there is not much to describe. 4 walls, a roof, a floor, that's important, and 1 door, no furnishings whatsoever, no decor. Hey, though the room is a beautiful green color, really vibrant, and that does indeed cheer me up. For the first few hours, nothing happens, so I take a seat on the floor and begin to introspect and self-analyze the past day. Now, I will admit that as far as detectives go, I've probably not done the best of jobs in this murder investigation thus far. However, life is about learning and growing and doing better. And they do say you learn more from your mistakes than you do from your successes. Now, I don't know if I entirely agree with that, but yes, I've imagined that, thinking back over the past day, that the mistakes do hit harder. The ramifications tend to be more dramatic and impactful than the successes. Or maybe that's just because I think more about how to improve the failures than I think and celebrate my successes. Okay, we're gonna go with that. I'm gonna celebrate what I did well, and we're gonna build on that, and the stuff that I could improve on, I will improve on. I do believe I was a little too quick to take Swordfish up on her offer of aid. I think with the file in my hand, I should have had the presence of mind to at least first sit with myself and the file, read through it thoroughly once or twice. Then, having enlightened myself of all the information that I presently had, which was just a file at the time, then I think, yes, I would have been better prepared and better equipped to decide what the best course of action would be. Okay, that sounds like a good way for me to proceed. I don't even think that I needed to do that straight away. Like, if I realized perhaps during the half an hour me and Swordfish were walking through Yuma's estate, if at any point it occurred to me, which it did, that I should actually sit down, read the file, and then make a decision, I was well within my right and power to take that time. Also worth mentioning at this point, I don't have the file. That, I believe, Swordfish still has. A few more hours pass. They put some water and food through the door before closing it again. I don't touch it presently. At the moment, I'm not feeling all that thirsty or hungry. A little peckish, perhaps, but I think I wait to see if another opportunity presents itself to acquire food that is less likely to be poisoned comes my way. It doesn't. In fact, I'm waiting around for so long I fall asleep. Intentionally, I decide there's no point forcing myself to stay awake and fatiguing myself. I go to the center of the room, lie down on my back, close my eyes, and go to sleep. After half an hour, it always takes me at least half an hour to get to sleep. And add to that, the galactic jumpsuit isn't the most comfortable to sleep in. After I wake up, I am feeling real thirsty and really hungry. The food and the water is gone. I am not regretting not at least drinking the water. My sippy flask is in my back case, which they have confiscated. So I sit and meditate. My meditation is broke by the door opening. I open my eyes and hope that it is food, and it is, in a manner of speaking, food. If you like sushi, that is, because it's swordfish. For the record, I'm vegetarian. Swordfish opens the conversation. Have you eaten, Leitner? Been watered? Been watered? What am I, a plant? I respond. I would be very grateful for some water, actually. Lots of it. And maybe some fruit. I will get these things for you, Leitner. Anything else? Yes. How on earth did things escalate from us investigating that room to a full-on fight? Leitner, that was not a full-on fight. That was, at best, a tussle. Speak for yourself. It was pretty intense on my end. My blood was pumping, brain was all over the place, and adrenaline was spewing out everywhere in my body. I am glad it was an exciting experience for you, Leitner. Look, as much as it was exciting and got the blood pumping, I prefer non-violence to violence any day of the week, any time, any place. And I do feel that all of that could have been handled in a reasonable discussion. Leitner, I saw you swear on black iron to see this case solved. I appreciate that means this is not a case you will simply walk away from. Your counteroffer, Leitner, only made this point clearer. So the escalation made things easier for both of us. You do not need to go against your vow. You have made a valiant attempt, but have been bested and are now trapped in this room, which allows me to continue with my investigation without competition. Bested? Trapped? Oh, Swordfish doesn't know who she's dealing with. But I keep this to myself. I realize that the words, although they don't seem to be said in a way to hurt or bruise my ego, it nevertheless is, and I do not wish to act on ego. That never works out well. Instead, I take a moment to consider what seems important to Swordfish about this murder case. I say aloud, why are we competition? We don't need to be competition. We're both going after the murderer, but I don't need to claim the glory of capturing and bringing this murderer in. As long as they are captured and brought to justice, I'd consider my vow complete. Something is telling me that there's more to this murder case than meets the eye, at least for you. I don't fully believe that you are going after this murderer simply to bring them to justice. I feel that there's something else that is tied to this murder case that has you so invested in finding them. That's just a sense I'm getting. You can tell me if I'm right or wrong. Swordfish considers for a moment before responding. You are not wrong, Lightner. She doesn't say anything more, so I continue. So we've established that there is something else that you want with this murder investigation. Now we can also safely establish that as of this moment, there is nothing beyond bringing the murderer to justice that I want. So I don't want whatever you want from the murderer. So no competition. We're not after the same thing. Apprehending the murderer will fulfill my vow, and whatever has you invested in this murder case I don't even know about and I have no interest in at present. So we can kill two birds with one stone. Well, let's not kill birds. Let's instead liberate two birds that are linked by one chain by unlocking a single lock that will set them free. By which I do not mean that I have intentions of letting the murderer be liberated and go free, nor do I intend to kill them. But what I mean to say is that with a single lock opened, we fulfill both of our goals. That made absolutely no sense even in my own brain. I really need to work on saying things more concisely. And it cost me dearly as Swordfish gets up, shakes her head, sorrowfully at least, once, and then turns and walks towards the door. As she opens it, I can see one of the unknown assailants outside, as well as my opportunity for escape.